If someone clicks on your video and you can't hold their attention for long enough, your YouTube channel fails. No views, no subscribers, no money. So what is it that entertainers like Mike Sheikh and educators like Ali Abdaal do that allow them to create videos in the top 1%? Well, one reason is when people click on their videos, they use a variety of techniques to hook their audiences from the moment they click all the way to the very end of their videos. So today, if you just give me 10 minutes, I'll improve your hooks and give you 3 techniques that top creators use every single day that keep you watching from the first second all the way to the last. And it all starts with technique number 1. Anyone who has tried making YouTube videos know that most viewers leave within the first 30 seconds of a video. So to help prevent this, you front load your video with a load of value and use loads of different techniques to help keep them within that first 20 to 30 seconds. Right? Well, there's actually a big problem with this. The first mistake most YouTubers make is failing to notice that your first hook doesn't lie in the introduction of your video. It actually comes before in the title and thumbnail. You see, YouTube is like shopping at the supermarket. There are so many different products competing with each other, and every company tries its best to create vibrant, eye-catching packaging with a clear message to pull in sales. Your job is to do the same with your title and thumbnail, because one of the first ways you're going to hook your audience the moment they click on your video is through something called viewer affirmation. This is when the first 10 to 20 seconds of your video reassures the viewer that what they clicked on is what they're going to get. To show you how well this works, let's have a look at Mike Sheikh's I Built a Flamethrower Sword.
3 mistakes led to the creation of one of the most unique swords ever existed on this planet.
In the first 10 seconds alone, Mike has already shown you 3 demos of the flamethrower sword being used on different objects, so you now have zero doubt that what you're watching is exactly what you clicked on. And another effective approach is also repeating your title and putting your thumbnail somewhere in the introduction as well. But let's pay close attention to Mike's first line. 3 mistakes led to one of the most unique swords that have ever existed on this planet. And this line leads us to our next lesson in mastering hooks, and that's opening up a curiosity gap. When Mike says 3 mistakes led to this, he's instantly making us wonder about what those mistakes might be, and this is what opens up that curiosity gap that we desire to close by continuing to watch the video. This particular kind of hook that Mike has used is called a statement hook, and it's one of 3 hooks that are commonly used in YouTube videos. The second type of hook is called a question hook, and this can look like,
if you struggle with procrastination, if you struggle to do hard things, if you struggle with discipline sometimes, then hopefully this video is for you.
If you find it difficult to generate some questions in your viewers' minds with a statement, well, throwing an enticing question at them will surely do it. For this approach, targeting your viewers' pain points like Ali has done here is one way to keep them wondering how you're going to solve those problems for them and therefore keep watching. But there's one more really interesting approach that can create a unique hook every single time, and that's a story hook. A story hook involves an analogy or story that gives clarity to a point you're trying to make. These work really well because usually they're presenting information in a way that your audience hasn't seen before, so it feels new. I actually did this earlier with the titles and thumbnails section. But what's the purpose of all of these types of hooks in the first place? Well, they all have one objective, and it's to keep your audience wondering what's coming next. In other words, you want to continuously use hooks to build tension and anticipation throughout your video, before rewarding your audience with resolutions that help relieve that tension. To level up your opening hooks, you really need to know your target audience well and think about questions like these. What are their desires? What are the biggest problems they're experiencing? Are my first lines clear and concise, matching my audience's expectations? Is my language too complex? How can I make this shorter? If you answer these questions, crafting your first few lines becomes much easier. But keeping your audience around for 20 to 30 seconds isn't what's going to grow your channel. As I promised, there are other ways to help captivate your audience, so let's move on. We all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth a lot of pictures. Probably depends on the frame rate of your camera. You get the point. So now you've set your first hook, a concise introduction that has met the expectations you set through your thumbnail and title. However, this is only the first layer. For the next layer, I'm going to give you visual techniques that you can use to instantly make your content more interesting to watch. And I'm not talking about 9 explosions, 3 zooms every second, glowing text and shaky camera movements that can stir the stomach of any audience. No. Please, YouTube, we're done with that, please. The first thing you need to think about here is once again the expectations of your audience. And surprise, surprise, starting with your title and thumbnail. If we bring up the videos of Mike Sheikh and Ali Abdaal again, we can see how the thumbnails reflect the visuals and pacing of the video. The expectations that titles and thumbnails set are the reason why the pacing of videos can vary amongst different creators across different niches. So now we've set the pace, let's talk visuals. First up is the fact that text is impossible not to read. So use it to your advantage, whether it be highlighting important information in your video, separating sections, using it to simply add more variation to your content, or subtitles. It's an easy way to catch someone's attention. The fact that so many people now autoplay videos by hovering their cursor over them also means that potential viewers are watching the first few seconds of your video without any audio whatsoever. So whatever you can pack into those first 20 to 30 seconds of your video is absolutely key for getting your viewer to stick around longer. If you're stuck for ideas, well, I've got demonstration in store for you, starting with this graphic here. Feel hooked yet? If you didn't notice our amazing editor's transition, pay attention again, because clean transitions are what you're going to want to use to switch between A-roll like you're seeing here, B-roll which demonstrates something you're talking about, stock footage if you can't create your own B-roll, but one of my favorites is physical props that can really add to an analogy or story you're telling. Another cheeky technique you can use to make people curious is to blur information that will be revealed later on in the video, such as a 5-step process or a list of techniques. Once again, it's all about building that anticipation. However, one of the most underrated ways to hook viewers is through something that they can't even see. Your music and sound effects are the unseen secret that can supercharge your visuals. Notice how the music in the background now is making you feel like something is coming. A moment of clarity, a golden nugget, and it's starting to arrive just about now. This sound effect is called a riser. And as much as music can really change the whole vibe of a video, boosting that energy and giving that feel-good feeling, you can also silence everything for moments of importance, and your audience will hold on to every single one of your words. But we can't talk about music without talking about rhythm. And something you've got to create contrast in is the rhythm of your script. If we take a look at my script for this video, you can see that there's a lot of variation in length of the lines, and I try my best to avoid large chunks of information at a time. The reason why is a repeated rhythm in speech is really boring to listen to. If I only spoke like this for the whole video, saying about 8 to 9 words per sentence without any variation in the way I speak, you'd be gone in an instant. So make sure your scripts have this kind of zigzag look to them and break up any sections that might seem too long or too repetitive. There's actually a really interesting approach to sound that I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about before. And it involves choosing a soundtrack first to match your narration to. And it's actually what I did for the introduction of this video, so let's go back and take a look at what I did. If someone clicks on your video and you can't hold their attention for long enough, your YouTube channel fails. No views, no subscribers, no money. So what is it that entertainers like Mike Sheikh and educators like Ali Abdaal do that allow them to create videos in the top 1%? The classical soundtrack that I chose kind of starts like dun, 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 dun. So I matched that energy with no views, no subscribers, no money. And then as the soundtrack sped up, I also chose to sped up so that I'm not trying to compete with the energy, rather go along with it. Now this approach to sound obviously involves more planning at the scripting stage and also spending an ungodly amount of hours on epidemic sound from my side anyways. However, combining all of these different techniques will help keep a viewer watching until the end of your video, but there's one final hook that can be the difference between a video getting 3, 4, or 5 times the usual amount of views. When someone comes to the end of one of your videos, YouTube absolutely loves it when someone clicks on your end screen video because it shows the algorithm that your channel is keeping people on the platform. So in other words, you need to get good at hooking people into clicking your end screen video. And that can look something like this. You could craft one of the best hooks on YouTube. Upload your video only to experience disappointment and a few views. This is simply because you just haven't put enough hours into YouTube yet, and you haven't learned other important lessons which are vital to building a successful YouTube channel. So if you're interested in what those lessons are, you might want to click here.